Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is on a pogo stick. The original OP is Aesop's Fuzzy Socks, posted in r/wedding drama, January 27th, 2026. Future mother-in-law's song choices for the groom/mother dance are interesting. Disclaimer, I know this isn't the most high-octane wedding drama, but I just had to share because wedding planning has been a bit of a slog lately, and this recent development was equal parts cringe and questionable. Also pretty entertaining to me, but not so much my fiancé. We're doing the bride and father and groom and mother dances at the reception. The other day, future mother-in-law sent my fiancé her list of potential songs she'd like him to pick from. She prefaced this with something along the lines of, I spent all day thinking about our relationship, and these are the songs that I think really capture it. Keeping in mind that my fiancé is both an only child plus her miracle baby, and she openly objected to me for a very long time, I'd like to highlight some of her suggestions and my favorite lyrics from them. If We Held On Together by Diana Ross. Someone is praying, please let us come home to stay. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die, where clouds roll by for you and I. You Are the Sunshine of My Life, Stevie Wonder. And if I thought our love was ending, I'd find myself drowning in my own tears. You are the sunshine of my life, that's why I'll always stay around. ABC from the Jackson 5. But without the roots of lovely everyday girl, your education ain't complete. Teacher's gonna show you how to get an A. Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. Yes, the song synonymous with the Lion King scene of two lions doing it. When the heart of this star-crossed voyager beats in time with yours, and can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. Considering the optics and overall ick, fiancé was not happy with the list. Meanwhile, with everything we've been going through, I've had no choice but to adopt the mindset of, what's gonna happen next, and just laugh these things off. Hopefully some of y'all can laugh with me. Also, happy to report without too much extra drama, they will be dancing to What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong instead, LOL. Relevant comments. LH123456789. You're being a bit absurd about this. There is a high chance that his mom didn't pore over the lyrics with a fine-toothed comb, as you have done. For example, You Are the Sunshine of My Life is a nice sentiment and perhaps how she feels about her child. It is just not as deep as the two of you are making it out to be. OP responds, I hear you, and for just about any other situation, would not have thought too hard about this. My dad and I are dancing to something more unconventional too. But this is also the same woman who wanted us to go on a cruise with her for our honeymoon with connecting rooms. IH123456789 comments in response, in that case, I still don't know why you're fixating on the song. The song is the least of your problems. OP responds, I get that, believe me, LOL. I was mostly sharing to laugh a bit and see if others can relate. We moved past the song. I'm not worried about my fiancé. He's mostly been amazing about learning to set boundaries over the course of our relationship and has always put us first. I'm very proud of him. We've accepted that this is just who she is. So we focus on what we can control and laugh off the rest, if that makes sense. User Chronically Thinking comments, I hope Can You Feel the Love Tonight is the final decision. That way everyone could see how batshit crazy your mother-in-law is. OP responds, that was the one that made me start laughing, especially when my fiancé described it as the piece de résistance. Delicious Counter 29 comments, I think the people that are criticizing you didn't experience the lion sex scene in the same intensity that we did. That shit is hilarious, especially if that's what made your fiancé lose it on her. The Lion King sex song to a wedding. Please do not consider the opinion of whoever doesn't see the absurdity of this. OP responds, appreciate it, LOL. That was basically the reaction my maid of honor had. The Lion King sex song at a wedding with her son? Update, March 11th, 2026, 6 weeks later. Hi everyone, I made a lighthearted post a little while back about my mother-in-law's interesting choices for the groom/mother dance at our reception. It had gotten a little bit of attention / a couple people asked me for an update, so I wanted to share how it all went at the actual wedding. Link to the original post. As a quick reminder, my mother-in-law has a bit of a questionable attachment to my husband. He's her miracle baby, her words. Only child and only boy in the family. So you might get the picture. Hence the real icky tones to most of the songs she originally picked out. My husband had already been dreading this part of the wedding and had worked out a hand signal with the DJ to indicate if he, husband, wanted to end the song early. You're probably thinking, why not skip it then? And please believe me, if he had, she would have lost her mind. She was already being volatile over other things. I supported him either way, but he ultimately made the decision to just go through with it. In hindsight, he probably shouldn't have. The woman spent the entire dance with her hand on his ass, repeatedly patting, holding her hand against, and even full-on grabbing it. It was absurd. To the point my husband started trying to signal to the DJ to end the song, not even 30 seconds in. I checked in with my husband immediately afterwards to make sure he was okay. He was alright, a bit angry, a bit embarrassed, but he decided to let it go as to not affect the rest of the wedding. Luckily, he is able to lightheartedly talk about it now when people bring it up, because yes, people noticed. A lot of them. So folks, learn from us. If you don't want to do a parent dance, just don't, even if your spouse is opting to do one with their parent. Go with your gut. Edit to add, the song they danced to ended up being What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. Final comments. Spare ad, 5009. Wow. I'm gobsmacked. Serious lack of sense, decorum, boundaries, you name it. I think I'd do a special montage of her grabbing his butt in photos and film and send it to her. Ask your friends to send them to you. Start thinking of titles. Butt the Butt, My Boy's Butt, etc. OP responds. We do have a picture a friend sent of my fave while watching the dance that is pretty funny. Think... She also had her phone out, holding it in her outstretched arm so it reached the middle of the aisle during our entire ceremony. Couldn't even put it down to actually clap for us during the first kiss. A friend of ours photoshopped a rubber chicken in her hand. Commenter. She made a fool of herself in front of everyone that was there. How can any adult not realize how inappropriate they are with their own grown child? Be careful with her around any children you might have. OP responds, happy to say we are 100% child-free and that's not changing, thank the Lord. User Chance Definition 567 comments, so your mother-in-law sexually assaulted her son in front of everyone attending the wedding. Got it. He's not laughing about it, he's learned to cope. I hope he talks to a professional about his relationship with his abuser so he can have clear perspective about it. OP responds, he's been in counseling solo to deal with many things, and we did couples counseling specifically to learn how to handle her behavior, be a united team when situations arise, and how I can be supportive. We've unpacked this together as well as him alone since the wedding, which is why he's able to cope with it in the way he has. A Reddit comment on the best of sums up pretty much what I was going to say perfectly. Unions, unions, unions. It dawned on me that he was a wizard. They share a tagline. Comments. OP. I'm sharing for a laugh. Reddit. Why are you fixated on this? OP clearly recognizes the inappropriateness and is handling it appropriately because they already did and continue in therapy. Reddit. You're not taking this seriously enough. Get therapy. I also love that OP included a line of the mother-in-law telling them directly, I spend all day thinking about a relationship and these are the songs that I think really capture it. And the first comment is, you're looking too much into this. I doubt she poured over the lyrics like you did. And even at a minimum, OP made it clear that she was sharing the list as a, hey, look at how awkward the song list choice is for the mother during the mom and groom dance. Isn't this kind of funny? And then after Reddit blows it off as OP looking too much into it, the groom gets groped by his own mother while everyone's watching during the wedding and just, oh my god. Ugh. Fuck. Before we get to this one, I am putting a massive content warning in front of it. Lots of red tape here. This post contains direct mentions of domestic abuse, physical assault, and controlling and isolating behavior. If you are not currently in the headspace to hear this, I advise that you skip ahead. Unfortunately, I will be providing a spoiler. This does end positively for OP. I normally avoid doing so, but with the subject matter being what it is, I feel it is important for the sake of putting minds at ease to add that. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, it dawned on me that he was a wizard. The original OP is Worried Soup 6700, posted r/drew off my chest, April 21st, 2024. My husband is going to unalive me. I did not choose that title, that is the original title. My husband and I have not been together long, admittedly. It's only been 4 years. Other marriages make ours look like a baby marriage. My husband started hitting me around year 1, which blindsided me as he had always been a loving, caring man. I never saw this coming, even when it was staring me right in the face. He never stopped hitting me. It only evolved from hitting to beating. The cops have been called on multiple occasions, but they never do anything. I've started to see police officers as nothing more than a decorative object, just there to look good and make you feel safe, temporarily. Today, he had a particularly bad day. He didn't get the promotion he wanted, but nobody is. The economy, especially for the working class, is falling apart. I tried to say this, but he began getting agitated. So I shut up. Then he noticed that I was using Facebook, and I was talking to my brother, and he absolutely lost it. And I don't understand why. I curled in a ball and waited for him to be done with it. I don't know why I put up with this. After I thought he was done, I moved to get up, but he grabbed me and started choking me. I honestly thought he was gonna end me, but he must have gotten bored or something because he stopped. I've since locked myself in the bathroom, and I'm writing this on my laptop. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no savings as my husband wanted me to be a stay-at-home wife. I don't have a license since mine expired. An oversight on my part, I know, but now he won't take me to get it renewed. I don't even have a tiny bit of change for bus fare to get to the DSS building. Editor's note, the Department of Social Services. Not that they'd help me anyways. The last time I tried, they told me that I couldn't even claim homelessness because I had somewhere to go back to. OP did not leave any comments on this original post. Top comments. Commenter 1. If he strangles you, he is way more likely to murder you. In fact, around 700% more likely. I know that sounds insane, but it is a real, searchable statistic. Please search for domestic violence shelters in your area. Nothing he can do is worth your life. Commenter 2. Is your brother nearby? Could he help you find somewhere safe to stay? Please call the police. You can have him charged with attempted murder for strangling you. Take pics and send them to someone you trust. Don't leave the bathroom. Please have someone call for help if you are unable. Commenter 3. The reason he wanted you to be a stay-at-home wife is because he wanted you to be financially dependent on him and unable to leave. He doesn't want you to get your license renewed because it makes you even more dependent on him. Please, call your brother and ask him to help you get out. Tell him everything that is going on. If he can't help you, call anyone else that you have in your life. If you have no one else, call a domestic violence shelter. Please don't just resign yourself to a lifetime of abuse. You can get out. Commenter 4. First, let people in your family know what is going on. Like right now. Editor's note. OP updated in the same original post. Update 1, April 23rd, 2024. Same post, 2 days later. Update. First of all, I'd like to apologize for causing everyone to worry. I had not gotten out yet, but I am planning on it. My brother is going to pick me up while my husband is at work and take me to an old high school friend's house. She couldn't afford her rent on her own anyways. I've already started looking for jobs in that area. It's going to be nice to work again. I've realized being a stay-at-home anything is not for me. I don't want to have to rely on anybody else for my lifestyle, especially if someone could just rip it away at any time. Finally, thank you all for the comments and DMs to ensure that I am okay. I will answer all the DMs as there are only 15 of them. As for the comments, I probably won't comment on the comments, although I am thankful for them. Update. April 25th, 2024, 2 days later. So, a lot of stuff happened yesterday. I'm glad my brother was able to help me, but I shouldn't have gotten him involved. He's 16 and just started to drive. He's really good at it though, most likely because our father spent a lot of time teaching him before he even turned 16. On private property, of course. Anyways, my brother pulled up and began helping me pack my stuff. Basic necessities like clothes, hygiene products, and my laptop. But for some reason, my husband came home early. Really early. It was like 12:45 p.m. when he pulled in, but I have no idea why he came home so early. As you can probably guess, this situation didn't go very well. He started yelling at me and my brother. His yelling even got the attention of the neighbors. Some of them came outside, but nobody did anything. They all just kinda stood there. Anyways, my husband kept screaming at me, calling me all kinds of horrible names. I'm not going to get into what those are, but they seriously pissed off my brother, who started screaming at him back. Things came to a head when my husband grabbed my brother. I'm not entirely sure what happened, I don't remember, but the next thing I do remember is I was standing in front of my brother and my husband was on the ground with a bloody nose. The police showed shortly thereafter. I can only assume that one of the neighbors called the police. When they pulled up, my husband went apeshit. The police tried to de-escalate the situation, but my husband made the idiotic choice to lay hands on the officer. So, long story short, my husband got arrested. The police talked to me, my brother, and the neighbors. I didn't get charged or anything. I was terrified I was going to be, but the police said that I was well within my right to punch him. But I should have prioritized de-escalation. Anyways, after everything was said and done, we left. I made it to my friend's house without much issue. I am so happy to be away, and I'm ecstatic to get back into some of my old hobbies. Oh, that's my voice giving out. Shit. I'm so happy to be away, and I'm ecstatic to get back into some of my old hobbies. I might take up playing The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Thank you all for following my story, and I'm so thankful to all the advice, kind words, and everything you've all given me. I'm starting to realize that planning a long weekend where I don't have to work, in addition to also recording an hour and 30-minute long Kevin episode, weren't exactly compatible. Fun. I'm very happy that OP was able to escape, and even with having limited resources, that her brother was able to and willing to take time to get her out of this hellscape of a situation. I'm also happy that he got rung up the nose. That jackass spent his time getting used to someone who wouldn't strike back, and he finally got a taste of it. He finally felt pain. Hopefully a bit of fear, too. I do find it really frustrating how common bystander culture is, though, and how much people just want to wash their hands or more of spectate a situation than actually do something about it. All I can hope is that OP is in a better situation now, and they're able to actually rebuild away from that monster. And for those of you in my audience who are dealing with something similar, even if you don't feel as though your abuse isn't nearly as bad as what OP went through or what others are going through, you still shouldn't have to live your life with someone who makes you afraid, with someone who you're afraid of, with someone who makes you fear for what your future may be. There's no shame in looking at what options you have to escape. There's never shame in asking for help. So please, don't hesitate to get help out of fear of what others might judge upon you. Don't hesitate to explore local resources. Don't hesitate to search for ways for you to escape that situation. Good luck out there, and please, everyone, stay safe. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." Quick content warning for weaponized incompetence, financial exploitation, suicidal ideation, and codependency issues. The original OP is Ariana Raven, posted to r/relationships January 4th, 2024. My 32 female, fiance 28 male, repeatedly does not clean the house. Alright Reddit, buckle up because this will be a long one. I, 32 female, am engaged to my fiance, 38 male, and we've lived together for 2 years. Before that, we were off and on for about half a decade. I have been frustrated with him a long time now, basically 1.5 years because of a myriad of issues, but it is coming to a peak. Basically, I work a full-time job that barely pays me well enough to support the both of us. We are living paycheck to paycheck, and it is a super demanding job. I am completely beat when I get home. He moved to live with me from out of state, and the initial plan was for him to work at least a part-time gig, which would allow us to live comfortably and be able to save at least a little. Right now, we have no savings. He hasn't found a job in 1.5 years, and he says he's been looking. And I've snooped enough to know he had. But like, seriously, 1.5 years looking, and only a handful of interviews to show for it? During this time, the deal was he would look for a job and clean the house while I worked. He hasn't really ever worked a job for more than like a year consecutively, and he only has a high school equivalency. He hemmed and hawed about going to college and what he wanted to do for a living and all that. I've been trying to help him figure it out, but he basically was just giving what he thought I wanted to hear. He said he wanted to go to school to work in IT, but turns out he just thought it was something he could do, and he did not really want to. So even when he said he was looking up programs, he wasn't really applying himself to get into them. So I finally gave a whole rant saying, I know you're not really doing anything seriously, dude. What do you want to do? So I literally gave him 2 weeks to look up career paths and pick one he could actually see himself doing. So, after having to push him, he picks being a YouTuber. A bit unconventional, but there are people who make a good living, and he has friends who do so. So okay, I had people support me to get my dream job, so I'll do the same for him. So we get him a nice microphone with the promise that if we get him this, he will really do the YouTube thing. We get the microphone, and I say, you don't have to apply for jobs for 6 months to get it started. Well, that only lasted like a month with inconsistent uploads and him again hemming and hawing and giving excuses. So I have another talk, and I'm like, why hasn't this happened? I don't expect him to make it big, but at least have consistent uploads. The style of video he uploads are barely edited, so he basically just records, checks the sound, and calls it a day. We dig a bit, and it turns out it's a mental block because of his emotionally abusive childhood, which I totally get, but I don't think it should be an excuse. I work with children who have experienced trauma and continue to study the effects of trauma on the brain and behavior. Plus, I've experienced childhood issues myself, so I try to be understanding. So now, he says he still wants YouTube, but nothing is being done. For a while, he said he was watching other videos to research, but even if I believe that, it went on for way too long to be reasonable. And after more digging, nothing is happening. So after months, starting way before all of this, of talking to my therapist about this, I realize I'm okay with him not working, but if he's not going to work, I want him to do like 90% of the cleaning, and I want the house to be clean. He agrees. Great! But no! I come home for months with the house being barely cleaned or not cleaned at all because he had a bad day. Months! I had been asking and helping him from schedules and helping him with his mental health issues and giving him workbooks to work through things, and more and more and more. So right before Christmas, I took a vacation and I cleaned the crap of the house with no help because his foot hurt. There was stuff he could have done without using his foot, but no support. So the house is clean now, no thanks to him, and I go back to work and ask him to put away the clean dishes, clean the microwave, and wipe the stovetop. So I come home, microwave was not clean. Most dishes are put away, but some are incorrect, and there's still stuff in the dish rack. Stovetop wiped down, but some spots are still dirty. And he's playing D&D with his friends online. And I am mad. And he's defensive. We're able to talk it out, and he promises to be better. But we have that conversation over and over and over and over again. To be fair, he has improved, especially the last about 9 months, and I wasn't really holding him accountable throughout the first year. But I feel more like a mix of mom, therapist, and fiance. I don't want to be a naggy sitcom wife. I want to just be a fiance. I don't think I should have to constantly ask for stuff to be cleaned. I don't think I should have to be the driving force for like so many things in his life. He just tends towards complacency. I don't think he realizes just how cush his damn life is right now. We only have cats, no kids, so it's not like a ton of cleaning. And he gets to stay on his computer playing video games and hanging out on Discord. Granted, I have my emotional and mental health issues, and he can be very supportive through that. He helps a lot with my stuff, and I know I'm not always the easiest to live with. But like, I don't think I'm being unreasonable. He has internet and food and a roof over his head. He has never paid a bill or even bought fucking groceries. He doesn't drive, so he literally just sits around all day. He has a history of bad work ethic and jobs and no motivation, and like, without me, he has nothing here. His family and he are on the outs. He's halfway across the country from where he grew up. He knows no one here except the people he's met through me. He has no resources, so I feel guilty or obligated or whatever. But like, I know I shouldn't. I'm just mad at the attitude he has and the way he shuts down when I talk about this. I know it's a trauma reaction, but still. I love him so much, but I'm getting so fed up. If anyone read this far, thank you. I think I mostly just needed to vent. I would appreciate any advice on how to talk to him. Too long didn't read. My fiance does not work and is living without financial contribution to our household and only has to clean, but he doesn't. It is quite telling that half the time I couldn't tell if you were talking about a teenager or your fiance, and that is extremely unfortunate. Also, before we get to the comments, I do just want to note that a lot of people just think that YouTube is just casually uploading videos and you make bank. No, shockingly, it takes effort. And there are YouTubers out there who make far more than me and who do way better content creation aspects than I could ever dream of. Anyways, editor's note, OP did not leave any relevant comments here in the original post, but here are some top comments. Commenter 1, he doesn't work, he has a bad work ethic, he doesn't drive, he doesn't clean, he won't discuss problems like an adult. What you've got here is a dependent child, not an adult, and definitely not fiance material. Put him on a bus back to mom and dad. Commenter 2, he has a very good deal. You work, he plays. Why would he change? You know exactly who he is. The problem is that you still believe in the person he could be, and are not seeing the person he really is. He's still the little kid that mommy makes do some chores. Can being without him really be worse? Commenter 3, what could possibly be so great about this guy that you think he's the best you can do? Commenter 4, oh my god, read your own post aloud, OP. Record it and put it on YouTube too, LOL. So let's break this down. You've been together 2 years. For 1.5 of those years, you've been frustrated with him. Not cool to spend 75% of your relationship frustrated. Most people would call that a failed relationship and dip. He's never had a job for over a year. He hasn't had a job since living with you. When pressed to find a career choice, he said he wanted to be a YouTuber. For fuck's sake! What's wrong with working at a restaurant until his YouTube career kicked off? You financing his YouTube dreams is way more of a chance than anyone ever gets. Most people work and do YouTube as a side until it kicks off. You're just giving it to him like you're a millionaire and he's just rubbing his hands together like, jackpot. And you buy him equipment. He now barely uploads some very low-grade stuff, but God knows what. The life of a low-effort trophy boy, I guess. And he doesn't even clean or help around the house. And you put up with it all and buy him stuff. You were even gonna finance his YouTube career, and now you do all the cleaning. He's not going to change. Why would he? He's living the life and you're letting him. You are his mom and he is your extremely spoiled child. But mom, I want to be a YouTuber. I can't do my chores because I need to do research and watch YouTube all day. You, okay honey, that's fine. Here's some money for a new mic. Dude, come on. Wake up and smell the exploitation. Aren't you embarrassed to be dating? IRL, you're just like his butler he doesn't pay. Someone like this? Kick him out and move on. Update, 2 years later, March 11th, 2026, over 2 years later. Update, my 32 female, fiance, 28 male, repeatedly does not clean the house. Hello, lovely Reddit. So in January of 2024, I, now female 34, posted about my relationship with my then fiance, now 30. I don't remember exactly how long I left the post up, but it couldn't have been more than about a day. In that time, what felt like an avalanche of comments hit me. They all, literally, every single one, told me to leave. I had one private message from someone who said they understood, but literally every other comment said leave. Some were funny, some were serious, some were short, some were long, some shared their own experiences, some shared excellent and specific advice. I was ready to hear none of it. In a panic, I deleted the post. I tried to forget it, but see, the thing is, Reddit emailed me every single time someone commented. Naturally, I couldn't resist, and I read them all. But I ignored all the good people of Reddit, and my friends IRL, and my family, my therapist, and my own sound judgment. And I stayed. Why? Honestly, a few things. First and foremost, back when my self-esteem was not so good and I was dealing with stress from a high-demand job and compounded by intermittent bouts of full major depression. Serious depression. Before this post, I had already spent a month on sick leave from work because I was feeling acutely suicidal. Well, after the post, I had to take over 2 months off of work because of the same, and truly, I hated myself. A lot. My fiancé, let's call him Dominic, was all I believed I could get, and he did say the right things when I was feeling low. Of course, I had to specifically feed him lines beforehand so he would know what to say. And of course, if I didn't calm down or pep up fast enough, he would start to cry or shut down, and I would immediately snap into helper mode to help him. Yes, that's right. I was feeling suicidal and crying because I was afraid I would lose control and kill myself, and it was somehow my responsibility to keep Dominic stable. I'm sure that gives you all more insight into our dynamic. I was the adult, the fixer. He was essentially my child, my project. Which leads me to the second reason I stayed. I said it in my original post, but he has no one but me. Some Discord friends, sure, but none he felt comfortable opening up to, by his own admission. He moved across states to live with me. He cut off his family because they stopped enabling him. This is not how he or I framed it at the time, but that's what happened. His one cousin he was close to had died. His support system was me. Just me. He did eventually, after months of me hounding him, get some food stamps and Medicare insurance. So obviously, problem solved. I had an extra couple $100 to add to the household budget. Just kidding. Without me, he lost his housing, his sense of purpose, his food, his entertainment, his planned future, everything. I stayed because I felt it would be my fault if this person ended up homeless. I promised him once I would never let him be homeless again. I had mentioned earlier his family stopped enabling him. That's how he ended up homeless the first time. Was that a bright red flag? Yes. Did I see it as such? Yes. Did I then turn it into a romantic thing because he told me he thought of me on those cold nights? Foolishly, yes. Third reason, I'm a stubborn thing and I have attachment issues. Dominic and I have known each other since 2018. We met online gaming and he glamped onto me. I was in the middle of my worst depressive episode to date at the time. Isolated, unemployed, and desperate for connection. Worked in his favor, didn't it? Well, I dumped him in early 2019. Then I foolishly wished him happy birthday, and suddenly, without my realizing how, we were back together by the end of 2019. So yay, I guess. He even came out to visit me for the first time. We actually had a lot of fun. He was working then, and I soon found a job to reintroduce myself to society and learn how to be a person again. Then he quit his job. He quit by just not showing up to work anymore and without another job lined up. I had begged him to find another job before quitting this one. He said he would. He didn't. So with $0 saved and me only just working my way out of a depressive episode, guess who is suddenly supporting 2 people in 2 different states in 2 different houses on a single just above minimum wage salary? Is that possible? No, it is not. Eventually, I managed to work up the guts to dump him. Lo and behold, I got better. Depression ended for the time being. Job stable. Better than that, I managed to work myself up into a much better and extraordinarily high-pressure job. High pressure and emotionally taxing. It's almost Christmas 2021 now, and guess who calls me? If you guess Dominic, boy, are you right. He says he missed me. I say I missed him. He says he has a job. I say so do I. I say, hey, let's take this slow. He says nothing. He ghosts me until after New Year's, and let me tell ya, my anxious, ambivalent attachment went buck wild. When he hit me up again, I said I was all in. Fool! But, well, that is what happened. Then, and this is the worst part. In late January of 2022, Dominic tells me, OP, I should move out there and we should live together. I was high on that early relationship butterflies feeling, and the fool that I was, I said, brilliant idea! So by mid-February 2022, Dominic moves to my state. With no job lined up, of course. And thus, past the events detailed in my original post. After that post, I double down. I say, let me help you. I tried everything I could think of to make him clean the freaking apartment. He did, a bit. He'd clean the toilet bowl, but not for the seat or the outside of the bowl. He'd load and run the dishwasher and leave it full for days or weeks. He would seldom, if ever, do a damn freaking thing unless I begged, cajoled, or screamed. I asked everyone for advice on how to motivate him. I did all the good conversation skills when we talked. I validated him. I understood his trauma. I signed him up for therapy, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes stuff happened, but overall, no change. Nothing. And me? I did better than I did worse, and then better and worse. And resentment slowly built. Built and built and built. I had good, insightful, caring friends. I had a supportive family. I had a job. I had a longtime therapist and was doing deep work on my past trauma and my depression and anxiety. I got medicated, and slowly, without admitting it to anyone, most of all myself, I lost patience in Dominic, and I resented the ever-loving fuck out of him. The relationship was over long before I ever realized. Of all the things to turn the tide, it was a conversation with a coworker I was not super close to at the time. We're friends now. It was late August of 2025 and I was complaining about Dominic. My worker said, "Do you want my advice?" I said, "Sure." He said, "You gotta leave him." He went on to say other things about why, but that didn't really matter because for whatever reason, when he said, "You gotta leave him," I realized, yes, I do. So I did. It was hard. I cried. Dominic cried. I gave him the bag I had packed him and put him in an Uber to the local homeless shelter. The next day, I bought him a ticket back home to his family. He reached out to them when he realized I was done. He hadn't talked to them in over a year, but he found a place to stay. When I heard this, I cried for literally an hour straight at my desk at work. I cried, and my amazing coworkers and friends talked me down. A couple of them were actually waiting around the block when I ended it with Dominic so I wouldn't be alone. Others made plans with me so I had support over the weekend. My parents offered to let me stay with them or have them pay for a deposit to a new apartment so I could leave my old shared home. And literally, every single person who knew the situation, who I told about the breakup, every single one said some variation of, "Oh, thank God." My rather colorful mother said, "It's about fucking time." It was hard, and the weekend after the Thursday I broke up with him, I cried a lot. By Monday, I felt better. I healed, I moved, I reestablished the self-care routines I had let slip, I strengthened the friendships with the amazing people around me, I went to therapy, I adjusted my meds, I opened up, I got better. Months later, March 7th, 2026, I was lying in bed and cried about the relationship for the first time since that weekend after the breakup. I cried because I am doing so much better now. I no longer hate myself. I no longer end my days exhausted. I no longer isolate. I'm losing weight. I'm doing healthy things. I'm being social. I'm happy. For the first time in my adult life, I am genuinely, sustainably happy and confident in myself. I cried because now I only need therapy once a month to touch base, because now I only need to see my doctor every 6 months to check in. I cried because my friendships are strong. My family is closer than ever, and I'm making art again. I cannot overstate the difference between me and the woman who wrote that first post. I never thought I could get to a place where I did not hate the person I am. I came back here to say thank you. I didn't listen to the plethora of good advice I got, but I read every word and it stuck in my head. Your words, the subtle and not so subtle words from my support system, they all clanged around in my noggin until they clicked. So, thank you for whatever part you played in getting me here. It was worth it. It was all worth it. I want to say too, if any part of my story here or on my other post resonates with you, if you recognize yourself or your partner in my words, don't do what I did. Listen to the people trying to help you. Listen to me. Do not be afraid to do the hard thing and put yourself first. It's hard. It's worth it. Too long didn't read, dumped my fiance after sticking around too long. Life got immediately better, and I've never been happier. Editor's note, once again, OP did not leave any relevant comments in the update. Top comments. Commenter 1. This is a very hard thing you did. And you did it. I hope you really bask in the feeling of being proud and in awe of yourself. Congratulations, girlie. Less than 3. Commenter 2. Thank you for this update. I'm so happy you put yourself first. You sound like such a kind person and you deserve a good life. Commenter 3. You got out. I'm proud of you. Be proud of yourself as well. Commenter 4. Gosh, you must feel so much lighter. I hope you're proud of yourself because you made it through all of that and knew you deserve better, and that's so hard. OP, I better not see an update in December about you getting back with him. To me, it sounds as though Dominic was in the standpoint of, well, I don't really have to do too much because I'm always going to have a parachute. I'm always going to have a net. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to let people fall onto the net or realize they no longer have a net to fall onto before they begin to put their life together and actually put an effort. Dominic here never had to actually try. He never had to actually do something because a fire was lit under his ass. Any time that he was actually in dire straits or in trouble, like when he was first homeless, he was able to weasel his way back into his ex's life and live with her. Dominic seems to always have had, and very well might currently have, a safety net, especially with him moving back home and with the help of his parents, potentially. I am also by no means saying that everyone needs to struggle and suffer before they can be successful. I'm only saying that some people, they realize they have parachutes and safety nets and never actually try to go beyond their means. They never actually try to be anything more than what they currently are. They just settle. Settle for being able to be at home and relying on those safety nets, to not have to worry, to be able to use those around you to keep yourself afloat. This sounds harsh, but I genuinely hope Dominic gets his parachute cut so he's able to actually fly on his own. Thankfully, and good on OP for doing so, the first few strings seem to have been cut. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget code Oz with GamerSupps, link in the description below. Every purchase made using my code helps the channel directly. They've got really good stuff there. I promise. I've had sponsors offer me a lot more, but I could never get fully behind their product. The only reason why I'm with GamerSupps is because I actually use their product. I actually enjoy it, and it's actually something that I feel comfortable representing on this channel. So it's not just one of those YouTuber kind of plug and spiel things where, company dangles a $100 bill in front of my face and I take it immediately. On another note, despite my voice beginning to give out, I've almost got all the videos I need recorded so I can actually enjoy having some time to myself this weekend. That will be nice. Granted, it's more of a stay-home-cation, but still. It'll be nice just to do stuff that's for me and not just stressing about tomorrow's video.